Hello everybody, it's Julia here from the Highly Sensitive Tarot, and I'm back today to do a tag. I've been wanting to do this tag all week, but it's been a funny week. It's been a lovely week in many ways. It was my 55th birthday last week, and I was just blown away by so many people's kindness and generosity really at birthday wishes, and I got some lovely gifts which hopefully next week I can do a video on to show everybody the lovely decks and bits and pieces that I got. So in many ways it was a wonderful week. I actually went and had another tattoo as well. My friend paid for me to have this lovely tattoo here, which is an unalom. It's starting to scab and sort of go a bit weird at the moment, so I'm just moisturising it, but I'm really, really pleased with that. That's so cool. I've only got these two tattoos. I don't have any more, but both of these have quite a lot of significance for me. So, yeah, I had a lovely week in so many ways. As I said, so many people were so kind, which is not something I'm that used to be honest. Oh, you hear that? That's my cat sneezing. Bless him. So yeah, but I was just plagued with migraines all week. So although it was lovely, it was hard as well. It's been a hard week. I've been plagued with migraines and plagued with fibromyalgia pains, and it can really zap your spirit, can't it? Chronic pain. It's a difficult thing. So anyway, I'm here finally to sit and do this tag. This is 54321 Tarot by Kelly Bear, and I was tagged by 3 people. I think Patsy T, Mystic MZ, and the Art Occultist. So there's been so many tags done, hasn't there, this week. This tag has sort of hit the ground running. Lots of people have got a video out very quickly, so I'm quite late to the party, but I'm going to have a go. And again, I have a little bit of a difficulty in showing you some of my things because I'm sort of half to 2/3 packed to move house, and so it's not easy for me to get at some of my things, but I have got 5 decks that are on my tarot table pretty much all the time at the moment because I'm obsessed with them. So they're the decks that I'm going to show you. The 4 books I did manage to find in a box, but the decks are on my table all the time because I'm just obsessed with them. I just completely love them at the moment. So that's what my little 5 collection is to show you today, are just the decks that I'm currently obsessed with. As I said, I'm trying to work my way through watching everybody else's tags of this video because there's been so many. So this is the Pensive Path Tarot. This is by Reese Marin, and I bought this earlier this year, I think, really, after seeing her show it on her channel, and I just fell in love with it immediately. It's right up my street. I love arty type tarot decks. I love emotional, sort of intuitive tarot decks, you know, ones that aren't trying to be too clever, but, you know, really do give you a strong emotional message from the cards. Just some of the cards I just think are genius in this deck. They really are. I mean, this Knight of Swords, this, you know, normally we just see one man on a horse, don't we, with his sword, and here look at all the swords. You know, that there's really something painful about this card, isn't there, even to look at? I mean, and I think that's sometimes how I can feel in a bit of a Knight of Swords state, really, is that there's just such a lot of activity in my mind. This little Page of Cups, very vulnerable, beautiful energy. Look at the strength card. I mean, what better card could you have for strength? This dog here that is resisting eating these sausages until his master says he can eat them. That's just like, some of these cards are just, I just love them. They really, really resonate so strongly for me. I think I fell in love with the Fool, really, because normally we see a fool stepping off a cliff, don't we? And in this one, she's just laid on the cliff. She's like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I want to go. I'm thinking about it. That's my kind of fool. Look at this, the Ace of Swords. Brutal but powerful, I think, really. Messages here. Just such a fantastic deck. I love how some of these cards, the blackness, the real blackness behind the image. Look at the Hanged Man. Most of these cards are quite, I mean, there's a couple in this deck actually that are extremely difficult. I don't like this card. I appreciate it's the Three of Swords and it's a painful card, but you know, there's a little baby here clutching this bird, and I can't quite work out whether the child is enjoying hurting the bird or the child doesn't know that it's hurting the bird. I don't know, but I don't like it. Look at this, the Two of Wands. So there we go. Oh, and look at this, look, the Four of Cups. Look at her face. Such a brilliant card. Justice. Really powerful images, aren't they? The Four of Pentacles, look at his little face. He's like, no, this is mine, I'm not sharing. Beautiful Hermit. I think the Hermit is my card, really, so I always like to see a good Hermit card. Anyway, I don't like the clowns. I also don't like the clowns. Clowns are spooky. I don't like them. They're not cheerful. They're spooky. So, but all in all, I edged this deck also in this sort of aged, sort of bronzy copper sort of colour. I can't get enough of that deck. And even though it's pensive, to me it doesn't read in a overly sort of pensive way. The next deck I'll show you is the Three Trees Tarot, the Oak, Ash and Thorn that I bought recently from the Three Trees Tarot website. And I mean, this isn't, you couldn't get much different, could you, from this from the Pensive Path? I mean, this is just beautiful, earthy. Oh, just beautiful earthy energy, isn't it? Look at it. It's so soft and gentle, and I don't know, maybe these are like the two extremes of my personality, the Pensive Path and the Oak, Ash and Thorn. I don't know, but this deck reads so well. Like, I really wasn't sure because it's an animal deck and a very, very grounded nature-based deck. But it really does read well. I'm often, all the way around, I'm often just blown away, really, by the messages that I get from this deck. It's a very strong reader. It's just beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful, beautiful. The Knight of Wands, the Fox there. Oh, and the Six of Pentacles. Such a gorgeous deck. I just love it. I think that will remain one of my constant favourites. And look at the backs. Goes really well with my tablecloth, actually, doesn't it? So there's that one. That there. The next one is not anything exciting at all. It's my Smith-Waite tarot deck, the Centennial Edition in the tin. And this is, I suppose, my little workhorse deck, really. I mean, I'm a Rider-Waite-Smith girl for sure. It was the system that I was taught, you know, when I was in my 20s, and it still reads the same to me today as it always did. I just, you know, I could live and breathe these cards. I love them. And I particularly just like this little deck, because it's in a tin. I'm a bit of a sucker for tins, for tarot decks, much more than material. I don't often like the feel of material, so I'm a bit tricky about that, but I do like a tin. I've got several sort of quite basic Rider-Waite-Smith decks, but I think I like this because it's small, it fits in my hand, and I like the tin. I very much like the tin. So there is that one. The fourth deck is in this beautiful tin. I wish I could have found a tin that fitted it perfectly, but I couldn't. This is from makeplayingcards.com, and it is by the art occultist. She's done several other decks. I think the Cute Ghost Tarot is one of hers. The Diverse Tarot de Marseille. Anyway, this is a beautiful, beautiful deck that I only bought recently. I've not had it long at all, but I am still completely in love with it. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at the back of the cards. It shuffles like a dream. I just absolutely love it. I think I don't know how to pronounce your name. I think it's Alisa maybe, from the art occultist. I think she said that this was a sort of Aphrodite inspired deck, but it's certainly very pre-Raphaelite in a lot of the artwork. We've got a lot of very beautiful sort of Waterhouse type females with their gorgeous red and auburn hair, and a lot of very serious sort of scholarly or knight sort of looking men, I suppose, really. But you know, this deck also, it just reads like a dream. This is Circe, isn't it? Is that how you pronounce her name? Circe? There's a deck, isn't there, coming out of Greek mythology and Circe soon. She was a sorceress, wasn't she? So yeah, you know, you might think looking at this deck that it might not read that well, as it's all, you know, original artwork, but it really, really does. I've had some fantastic readings from this deck. It follows the Rider-Waite-Smith very well. You can see here the Five of Pentacles, you know, Five of Cups, the Four of Coins. You know, you can see the Rider-Waite-Smith information here, but just set within such beautiful cards. Look at them. It's like, oh my God, so dreamy, dreamy. I just love that kind of artwork. I really, really do. I can't get enough of it. I wish I had more space on my walls actually at home to have that kind of thing, really. I've got Flaming June hung in my bedroom, which is one of the images from this deck, which is gorgeous. So yeah, there's that one. So that's deck number 4. And the last deck, which has been a firm favourite for a long time now, is the Tower of the Abyss. Again, I can't get enough of this deck. It reads like a dream. I edged it in black. I wish I'd edged it in a different colour now, but there you go. I never thought I would really get on with a sort of black and white or sort of shades of grey type deck, because I do very much like colour and am greatly inspired by colour and artwork. But this deck reads beautifully. It is very, very intuitive, very emotive, very emotional. It gives me strong, clear messages all the time. Oh, look, I don't read reversals, so I don't know how my cards always end up upside down. But as you can see, it's beautiful. I love them. I'd also love very much in this deck that there are 2 cards of, I think, the 3 of Swords and the 10 of Swords, because they are both very, very difficult cards. So I love that there's a slightly more positive interpretation of one of the cards. I suppose, like lots of people, I do have some issues with this card, the Lovers. I know lots of people don't like this. You know, these trees could be dead or dying, and they're sort of tangled together, and I don't know. But to be honest, I don't need to see, you know, 2 young people wrapped around each other to think of the Lovers. You know, these 2 trees here have endured, haven't they? I suppose they've endured and weathered whatever has come their way. You know, they've grown together, they've put their roots down together. I like it. I love how this deck tells a story, you know, especially when you look at the court cards. You can really see the progression, I guess. So yeah, absolutely love that deck. It is a firm favourite. I would say, even if I had access to all my other decks at the moment to sort of pour through and decide what I was going to show you, I think this one would end up in my top 5, I think. Certainly my top 10, I would say. So let's go on to number 4 now, and number 4 is 4 books. And I had a root around in my box, and these are the, I mean, I've got quite a few tarot books actually, but I've watched other people's tags, and I thought I'd try and show some slightly different books than I've seen other people show. You know, I've obviously got the 78 Degrees of Wisdom and certain other books, but this one I bought fairly recently, I think secondhand on eBay, and it's really quite a nice book. Let's put those there. The Modern Witchcraft Book of Tarot by Skye Alexander. And one of the things I really like about it is the paper is really thick and kind of old-fashioned, and I don't know if you can see that there, but they're all rough and slightly different sizes. So, and the book is hardback, so it kind of gives you a feel of a book that's older than it is. I mean, it's copyright 2017, so it's not particularly old. But you know, there's quite a lot in here about interpreting the cards, symbols, magic, witchcraft and the tarot, incorporating aspects of magic into tarot. And then at the back there's, you know, having a significator, astrological significators, some tarot spreads, quite a lot of tarot spreads. I like, that's quite a good one, the spiral one. Using tarot cards in magical work. So there's some spells here. There's quite a few spells to restore harmony. Yeah, it's a really, it's a nice book, actually, a nice book. Put that there. The second book is this one, Young and Tarot, An Archetypal Journey by Sally Nichols, with an introduction by Laurens van der Post. I'm sorry if I've pronounced Sally. I don't know how you pronounce that, Sally Nichols. This is one hell of a book. I have had this book for years, and it has taken me years to read it, to be honest. It says here, the highly innovative work presents a detailed and piercing interpretation of the tarot in terms of Jungian psychology, through analogy with humanities, mythology, and the graphic arts. And it says 2 great traditions are wedded in this work, the irrepressible and magical tarot and Jung's archetypal psychology. And it says this wedding is long overdue. It's achieved not only through the wit and wisdom of Sally Nichols, but through her obvious love and care for the images of tarot. And this book is just like, oh my God, it's not an easy read. I used this book actually, that's what these little post-its are still here for. I used this book actually years ago when I was doing a thesis about the use of tarot in therapy and counselling in the past. I did a degree in metaphysical sciences, and I used this book a lot actually in my thesis. So as you can see, all these little stickers everywhere, but this is not an easy read. This book takes quite a lot of thinking about, quite a lot of processing. It brings up a lot of shadow work. It's, in the contents here, we've got a lot of information on each particular card. I mean, that's basically what the book is about. It doesn't go into spreads or anything else, but it gives you a really, really detailed psychological look at the archetypes within all of the major arcana basically here. So it's a brilliant book to add to your collection, but it's not an easy read. Certainly not for me anyway. The next book that I've got here is Messages from the Archetypes, and this is by Tony Gilbert. She's a registered nurse, I think, and she had become interested in using tarot for healing and spiritual growth within her practice with being a nurse. I think she may be a sort of holistic type nurse, but let's see what it says on the back. So it says this is a revealing study of how to use tarot as a therapeutic method and means for self-realization, utilizing well-known principles from transpersonal psychology, including case studies and fully illustrated descriptions of the tarot deck. And actually the case studies in this book are really, really helpful. I used this book actually to help me when I did my thesis years ago as well. There's some really, really interesting information here. I turned that page over. I don't normally do that. That's annoying, isn't it? So yeah, these are all the case studies. She does a lot of work with dream work and guided imagery and tarot, which I really do enjoy. I find quite powerful. There's a few little sort of poems throughout this book that I like as well. Often I go off wandering, often I find a treasure there. Often I see, often I feel, often I hear, often I sense. I am the I am. I like that. I am that I am. I am love, I am student, I am teacher, I am healer, I am healed, I am ego. I really, really like this book. It's been a big favourite for quite a long time. This is copyright 2004 actually. So yeah, good book that. And the last book to show you, I don't know whether anyone else has shown this. I think somebody has. It might have been Robin. I'm not sure, but the Tarot Playbook. I bought this book a few months ago after I'd discovered the the Tarot Murder Mystery tag, which I really enjoyed doing. And I thought it would just be a good book to be a bit lighter, I suppose, with my tarot, because I do tend to be quite a therapeutic tarot reader. You know, my background is in mental health and therapy, and that's really where my interest lies. So I thought this would be good for me, just to lighten up and to do some sort of more silly activities. And I have done a couple in here, some of the storytelling exercises, and it's a really cool little book, actually. It's a really cool book, I think, for somebody who's quite new to tarot, because it really does help you to develop a personal relationship with your cards, which is really, really important. So that's the books, isn't it? So let me get a deck and I'll be back in a sec and I'll show you some spreads for number 3. Okay, so if I'm honest, I suppose I don't really use that many spreads in my day-to-day practice. I use spreads at certain times of the year, at important times of the year, and I might use a spread if I was reading for somebody else. What I tend to do for myself a lot of the time is just 3 cards, you know, 3 card readings. Sometimes I will just pull 1 card for the day. Excuse me. Sometimes I'll just pull 1 card for the day. Another time I might ask a very specific question and I'll pull 3 cards. And I think whenever you have 3 of anything, you know, you're often looking at past, present and future, aren't you? So if my question related to something that I wanted ongoing information about, I might ask that. I might deal 3 cards, but generally I pull a card a day for myself. Sometimes 1 tarot card, sometimes 1 oracle card. If I need any more information, I'll pull further cards, perhaps throughout the day, and ask further questions. But I find 3 cards actually is often enough for any question that you ask, isn't it? So there's that. I also, I've just recently on my channel started doing a monthly reading, an energy check-in reading, and that's using a reading that I kind of adapted, I suppose, from lots of different tarot spreads that I've seen over time, of tarot spreads that people use for monthly tarot readings. So I can't remember honestly who they would have come from, but I find a lot of my tarot spreads on Pinterest or in the books that come with various tarot decks. But this one is one I did make up myself, and it would just be I'll lay them this side up just as it's just an example, but this is not how I would do it. The first row is, there's 4 questions and 3 cards for each question. The first question is, your current self, how do you feel right now? So that's the first row. The second row would be the theme of the month for you. So how do you feel in yourself right now? What is the theme of the coming month? The third row would be a key goal to pursue for the month. And the fourth row would be a key obstacle, an obstacle to overcome. So how do you feel right now? What is the theme of the month for you? A key goal to pursue and an obstacle to overcome. And I find that these 12 cards is plenty of information for a monthly reading. If I need more information, I will clarify specific cards. So there's that one. And then the third spread that I use, I suppose a fair amount really. What have I done here? I've managed to... What have I done? I've managed... There we go. Yeah, and the third spread that I do use a reasonable amount, I suppose, and I know is not that fashionable with a lot of people, but I still love a Celtic cross. I just love it, really. So we have the present, the card, the first card. The second card is the challenge or the problem facing you right now. The third card is the past. The fourth card is the future. The fifth card is above. The sixth card is below. And then the seventh card is the advice. The eighth card is external influences. The ninth card is hopes and fears. And the 10th card is the outcome. I used my little cards here, otherwise I'd have never got them all in the shot, would I? So yeah, the first card is the present, so what's happening right now, your state of mind, your perceptions. Card number 2 is the challenge or the problem that might be facing you right now. Card number 3 is the past or any events that might have led up to this situation. Card number 4 is the future, what's most likely to happen in the next few weeks or months. Card number 5 is above, and this is the querent's goal. So this is your goal or your best outcome, the thing that you're consciously working towards resolution. Card number 6 is below, so that's what might be within your more subconscious world, your subconscious mind, underlying feelings or emotions, or what might yet be revealed, I suppose. Card number 7 is the advice, and that's like taking everything into account. What's the best advice for you? Card number 8 is external influences, so that might be external factors such as other people and how they're influencing the situation. Card number 9 is your hopes and fears. I find that as a card is the one that might need additional clarification, because hopes and fears is quite broad, isn't it? And also quite closely entwined, I suppose. And then number 10, the last card, is the outcome, where the whole situation is headed and how the issue would resolve itself. So yeah, there is that. What else have we got? So yeah, number two is either 2 bits of paraphernalia or 2 habits or rituals that you have kind of regarding your spiritual practice. I'm just trying to think because I haven't written anything down for this tag. So I think, the paraphernalia, there's so much, isn't there? I could talk endlessly about that. But I think habits, my first habit would be that I actually physically cannot shuffle and deal cards without lighting a candle. I don't always have to have incense and sage and things burning, stuff like that, but I have to light a candle. I don't know what it is, but I sit down at my table, I light a candle, often just a little tea light. I've got this one lit today because it's gingerbread, and you can see with all of my autumnal bits and pieces, I'm getting into that mindset, but often it's just a little tea light or a pillar candle, but I have to light a candle, center myself, take a deep breath, and then I start to shuffle and frame a question in my mind and put some intent into that question. So there's that. And I think the second habit might be that I often do clarify my cards and clarify my readings for more information. And if I do, I will always use a second deck. I would never pull cards from this deck to clarify these cards. I would, I would have another deck of cards and I would pull more cards from another deck to clarify. And I do that because I think it gives you more information. You can often get doubles of cards. You could turn this one over and find the Four of Pentacles, and then when you go to clarify that, you could pull the Four of Pentacles again, which is fascinating, isn't it? When I look at a spread and when I think about my cards, I'm always very fascinated by themes and patterns, repeating cards, how many cards in one suit I might have, how many males, how many females, the numbers, the numerology, the astrology. I'm looking at my cards in a many layered fashion. So if I use another deck, that obviously just brings much more information into the reading. So I don't know, everybody might do that. That might not just be me, but yeah, there we go. So they're the two little habits that I have, I suppose, or two of the habits that I have. And the last prompt, number 1, was either a card that you wish you could embody or some advice. Well, as I haven't been organised and I haven't pulled a card out that I could embody, I will perhaps give some advice. And I think that would just be that whatever stage you're at in tarot, whether you're a complete beginner or you've been studying tarot for years, there's always new things to learn. I don't think that anybody could ever say that they know everything about tarot. There's always so much more to be discovered. Every tarot deck gives you new information. As I said, I like to layer up all the information in my reading. So I'm looking at the imagery, the colours. I'm scanning my body to see how I feel. I'm listening and open for any kind of psychic hits that I might get from these cards. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the astrology. I'm thinking about the knowledge that I have of those cards. I'm weighing up all kinds of information as I'm looking at cards, and I think, obviously there's no right and wrongs with tarot, but I think that over the years that's what starts to happen. You start off perhaps by learning a system or not. Some people might just pick up a deck of cards and read them intuitively. If you can do that, fantastic. But I think people often learn a system, and I think the layers start to progress from there. It's a bit like, when you learn to drive a car, isn't it? First of all, you've got, the mirrors, the gears, the brakes, the clutch, the steering wheel, hazards around you, the roads. There's like a million things, and it's really hard to fit them all together and for it to happen smoothly. But over time, all of these different layers, you could do it in your sleep, couldn't you? So I think if I was to give you advice, it would just be develop a personal relationship with your cards, play with your cards, learn about them, just sit and soak them up, journal with them, have a deck of cards around you at all times. Just pick them up, flick through them, see what you think, meditate on them. The books are certainly not everything. It's good to have a basic knowledge, I think, of a system or of tarot cards, but from there onwards, it's all the layers, isn't it? All the beautiful layers. So there we go. I do hope that was helpful. I really, really enjoyed this tag, and I've really, really enjoyed listening to everybody else talk. I've probably waffled on for far too long, as I do, but there we go. Please say hello. Love to all of you, and I'll see you all again soon.